I'm taking over. It's the Sit Down Zumock podcast, STZ. I am Florida's greatest comedian, Florida's most wanted, the has-been baller, the Lawson's chip dip consumer, the man in black, the 2.4 GPA general studies major from Kent State University, chadzumock. And with me is the party starter himself, none other than Darren Carter. Darren, how are you?
Yeah, great. I like your rap like that. Let me see if I can do one like that. Hi, I'm Darren Carter, the party starter. That's right. I'm Darren. The ladies call me Duran. Love me like a leprechaun. Sweeter than a bonbon. I'll bang you like a tom-tom. Then I'm out. I'm gone. Duran. Darren Carter, party starter on the Pocket Party podcast. Hello, Chad.
Flowing. I know what you're knowing.
He's the captain of the ship.
I'm steering the ship.
Yeah, I love that. Do you still throw on the captain's hat every now and then?
I do a podcast on Patreon with my comedian friend Tony Mazer, and we wear captain's hats. And it's an homage to Opie from Opie and Anthony.
Oh.
I don't know where it started, but at one point that he said he was the captain, he steers the ship. So
that's funny.
We just jumped on it and took it to another level.
Have you ever worn that captain's hat in public? Like walking around?
I did actually. Mike Calta, who's a radio guy down here, he used to go by the name Cowhead, and him, Bobby Kelly, Mike Cannon, a couple of New York comics. They were at Side Splitters yesterday because they're going on a cruise.
Oh, nice.
And I wore it down there because I wanted to, say I was the captain of their ship. But yeah, I wear it out in public. In Florida, you can wear whatever the hell you want. I was
going to say shirt. Right. It's funny because there's certain things out of my comfort zone. I'm like, I don't know how I'd feel wearing because I usually just wear baseball caps or maybe like a beanie. I don't know if I'd be like, okay, I'm putting on something that's unusual, but Well,
LA is a weird place. People are a little eccentric and weird, and they go for it out there.
I feel like you could do pretty much anything in LA or like you said, Florida. Like you could wear a cowboy hat. People wouldn't even think twice. You know,
that's what Tony Hinchcliffe, I guess, is like full on cowboy mode now since he moved to Austin. Like every time you see him performing, he's in a cowboy outfit.
Wow. That's kind of cool just to embrace the whole thing of like, you know what? I'm the golden pony and I put on a cowboy hat. Like, have you ever, man, can you imagine? Do you perform wearing a hat or no?
Yeah, I do. I have a full head of hair. Like people always I have, that's the only thing I have going is I have good hair, but I
then you hide it. You're like, I got great hair, but it's the only thing I got going, but I'm going to hide it from the public.
But when I was a kid, I always wear baseball caps. I just loved baseball caps. So it just never, by the way, the way I'm dressed right now, like I'm wearing basketball. If you were to see me when I was 13 years old, I'm wearing the same outfit. I've not evolved. T-shirt, basketball shorts, and a baseball cap. I have not evolved as a human. I'm in my 40s and I still dress like I'm in 13.
You actually dress nicer. Like if you see that picture behind you, you used to wear the Argyle a lot, the Argyle sweater. And
there was an 8-year period I was doing a sweater vest thing,
but it was recognizable. I remember that's when I first saw you. I knew you as the Argyle, and I was like, oh wow, that guy's like a Ivy League author. Like he writes books because I think you wrote a book, and I pictured that Argyle.
Good memory, by the way. That was a long time ago. You know what was funny? The reason why I wore that is because I was in a sketch group and we wore it one time, and we had like a really like funny sketch with that. And I remember Rita Piazza in 2000, I'd say 6 or 7, was auditioning me at the Hollywood Improv, and she put me on after Jim Gaffigan, and I wore the sweater vest and I had the unbelievable set of my life. And I remember just going out into the lobby in Melrose, and I remember hearing someone over saying, "Who's that guy in the sweater vest? He was hilarious." I go, "That's who I am. I'm the guy in the sweater vest." And
dude, isn't that funny? I know. I have the same thing. I have like my good luck. I used to wear good luck socks, certain socks that would, give me good luck. And then you kind of get locked into a certain thing. But, I was just going to say with your great head of hair, that could be a thing. Your public podcasts, you could, wear the baseball cap. But hey guys, if you want to go behind the paywall and join me on Patreon, I'll show you the hair,
So, yeah, that'll get people to sign up.
What's under that cap?
Look at what you're missing, everybody. Is that worth $3?
It's so funny. Because before I shaved my head, I used to, I was losing my hair and I was trying to hang on.
I remember you with hair.
Before all that, though, like back, when I had a good head of hair up until about, I don't know, age 20.
You had the Bill Burr look going.
Yep. Yep. I used to have bright red hair and it was kind of cool. And that was my thing. The sweater vest, Argyle, I was the redhead comic. So it was like, there weren't very many of us back then. And so, I was like, yeah, my bright red hair. So I never wanted to wear too many hats or any of that stuff to kind of, and plus I had a lot of jokes about my head on stage, like, hey, all these redhead jokes. And then once you start losing your hair, you're like, I got to write a new act. And then I guess I could perform with the cap on right now, but I don't know. I feel like the stage lights would like shadow my facial expressions, but maybe it would make me it might work a different muscle for the performance, Oh, look, there you go. And these are kind of recent. Oh, look at that bottom one down there.
Right here.
That's a recent one.
Oh, here's the one that there it is. There's a good look at the head.
There's a good looking one. Yeah. Even before that, there was one where it said Los Angeles on my shirt. The one that said, if you go back a little bit,
LA. Oh, this one right here?
In the middle. Yeah. That was one from about 2006, 2005. Was that Dublin's or something? Yeah, you know what? That was funny. There's a barn door right near the ice house, and that was taken there. But it looks like I'm on a farm, but I'm really at the ice house in Pasadena.
Who's this imposter here? This Darren Carter, the soccer player?
I know he was born, I want to say, in 1983. Because if you go on Wikipedia, it'll give a lot of facts about me, but then it gives facts about him. So people are like, hey, you were born in 83. And I just like, well, whatever.
Yeah. That's exactly when I was born in LA.
Why not? Yeah, exactly.
You're a Hollywood executive, 1983.
I know, exactly. I know. Oh yeah. I mean, I had a radio guy that he was a lot older. So I guess he didn't really know the age range or whatever, but he's like, you were born in 1983. And especially back then I was like, I was not born in 83, but I just let it go. Like, okay. Yeah.
You're like Earl. You're one of the rare people that grew up in California.
I am born and raised in Fresno, California, man.
Fresno, you got it.
You got it. That was the other valley. I'm from the valley, San Joaquin Valley. Yeah, born and raised in Fresno. And I started my comedy there. And then I moved to the San Francisco Bay Area. Then I did a college tour for a couple of years. We'd be gone for like 3 months. And then I lived in San Diego for a bit, and then I made the move to Los Angeles. 1995 I moved to LA. But yeah, I'm all California,
So when all this stuff happened with the mandates and the lockdowns, you had no intention. I mean, you were like, where am I going?
Right.
I'm from here.
I know. It's like, I mean, on the good side, when people imagine, like, let's just say 20 years ago, you want to make it in show business, you're probably going to go to LA or New York. And so I used to count my blessings going, wow, if I don't quote make it, at least I didn't I didn't give up everything and move several time zones away and miss all. I'm like, well, I could still visit my family on the weekends, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But then during what you said, during the mandates, the lockdowns, when stuff got crazy, when they were like, you can't even like for the example, the beach, they were like, you could walk on the wet sand, but you can't sit down on the dry sand. I mean, there's
how insane was that? And
it was like insane.
They were like putting sand on the basketball courts and the skating parks. Like,
I know
it was like, what are we doing, man?
It looked like the zombie apocalypse. I mean, there was like different construction that was going on here that they had just stopped. So a lot of the, like there's a shopping center I used to go to, and you would just see the windows boarded up, and then you'd see like the riots on TV, and it was just people were closing freeways down and protesting. All that stuff happened around the same time, and like you said, you couldn't even, luckily, my wife was raised on a farm. And so she's like, let's get out of here. Let's go up there. So we were spending like most of our time on the farm, and I would drive back to LA about 3 hours away. And that's when I would like check the mail and do all the little stuff that you got to do. I do that once a week, and I'd upload a podcast or do a Zoom podcast with somebody. And
I remember that because you didn't have Wi-Fi out there.
Right. No Wi-Fi. Yeah. So I remember, when I did your podcast, I had to go to the local town and park in front of the Starbucks, because at that time the Starbucks wasn't even open. So it wasn't working in a coal mine. I'll tell you that it's not working in a coal mine, but sitting in your car trying to upload a file that's, and it's 106 degrees outside, and you're just like, because it would take me 2.5 hours sometimes to upload those podcasts, and you're just going, dang, after about 1 hour and 20, you're like, is this even that funny? Like, you're just questioning everything. But so at least that part of California is a little bit more like free compared to like the big
Sure.
cities, so and I was out there on a farm, like I said, there was days I was just riding my bicycle or just, I had like this axe I used to carry around for exercise. And so I must have looked like a nut if anyone saw me, but I was on private roads and private land, but I would just walk out there with my axe and I'm just like getting just sweating and questioning, like, what the heck am I going to, I don't know how it might've been more open for you, but there was times where I was like, man, I don't have any shows on the horizon. Wow, this is a weird feeling, like especially starting comedy in like 1989.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden it's like, and it's like, oh, I guess we're going to transfer over to podcasts and Zoom stand up or whatever,
Yeah. Well, I left town like right when Kobe Bryant died. That's when I left LA. It was like a weird, like right before COVID. Like I almost had some weird thing. Like I got to get the hell out of here. And I was moving to New York. That was the plan. Because I had these comedy goals that they're no longer existing and then I went back to Ohio for like a month and a half and I said, okay, I'm moving to Florida. That was always my game plan. I was going to hit if I didn't hit these comedy goals, I was going to Florida, but I go, all right, New York's not going to be back anytime soon. I'm not going back to LA. So I'm going to Florida. And I'm glad I did. It was probably one of the best decisions I've made. So now I'm down here, like Steve Simone's down here, Jimmy Schubert, all the guys, and I just had Esther Koo on the podcast. She lives in Miami and I love it.
That's cool. And there's probably some people you may or may not even know that live down there yet. Do you know Bruce Smirnoff? Did you ever meet Bruce?
I have not.
So Bruce was like a big comedy store. I knew him from the Comedy Store in the 90s. And, he has these great stories about, getting tapped on the shoulder in the 80s. Like, hey, you need to go up next. So-and-so's late. And then he gets on stage at the Hollywood Improv. And then who comes in? Johnny Carson. And he had too many drinks. And then poor Bruce was getting heckled by his agent's son. and then after that, they were like, hey, Johnny's a little too drunk to drive. Can you give him a ride home?
Wow.
Can you drive his car home? So Bruce is driving to Johnny's house. So Johnny's in the front seat with another young lady. And then, and he's got to tell you the story himself, but it was just like, that's what I'm saying. Guys like Bruce Smirnoff are there. And there's a lot of cool people in Florida.
Yeah, man, I'm connected with a lot of them. There's a lot of work too. Like the one thing I've noticed is like, you really don't even have to leave the state if you don't want. I mean, there's so much work to be, if you got a couple credits under your belt and you got a couple references, you're good to go. I mean, just the little credits that I've gotten referrals and I'm very happy with it for the most part.
I have a buddy that moved to Brian. I don't know if you know Brian Swinehart.
Yeah, I know Brian. He's from Ohio.
He's from Ohio. Yeah. I don't know I think he's in Ohio this week, but I know he's been going back and forth between Ohio and Florida. And I believe he's staying near Miami in Delray Beach, I think. Yeah. And he told me he's picking up like extra work, like as an actor. He's like, he goes, it almost feels like I'm back in LA. Like I'm doing spots again. And I'm making some pretty good money doing like extra works. And I don't know if he's going to do stand-in. For a while, he was doing stand-in and where you stand on the spot while they shut up the cameras. And he was doing that for Matthew McConaughey and stuff. So
yeah, I know Brian. Dayton, Ohio boy, if I'm not mistaken.
It sounds like there's a scene in Florida that's, do you see yourself coming to LA sometime or
I stay in touch with Earl. We're tight. And, I don't, I had such a bad, and no disrespect, because there's like you and Earl and a lot of good people that live there, but I had such a bad taste in my mouth living there the past 2.5 years. It was just because when I started in comedy, it was 2004, 2005. It was like right around that time. And it was fun. It was like, I was eager. I was excited. I was on MySpace. It was fun.
Yeah. MySpace. Yeah.
Dane Cook was blowing up at the time. And, I was just, it just seemed, I don't know. I was coming from a real innocent place. And then when I came back, it was just so business. All the stages were packed. I didn't like the vibe. I don't know. Maybe I gotten older and I got a little bitter. Maybe I think that's the case. I got a little, I just saw all the nonsense that goes on and I didn't like it.
Yeah, it is funny. I know what you're saying, like, and I was listening to, I did a podcast recently with John. I don't know if you know these two comics, but one is Dr. Dean Larrett, and he managed the Hollywood Improv from 90 to 93.
Really?
And yeah, he's been in like Jamie Kennedy movies. He's done stuff with Nick Swartzen, like he has some movie with Nick Swartzen, but whatever. And soap opera stuff. And he's the kind of guy that, you know, when he first came to town, he's driving a limo. Then he became a manager of the Improv and blah. But he's got all these old stories. And then
I like the old stories.
I love the old stories. And then the other comic was John DeResta, who was like New York City's funniest cop. And he got his own sitcom and did all these movies. He's another great guy, if you ever want to guess. But so I had those two guys on. And just in passing, Dean was mentioning the lineups from back then. And those lineups sounded amazing. Those were like comics who worked their asses off in the 70s and 80s. And then, you know, like he said that, yeah, like on any given night, it would be Jerry Seinfeld, George Wallace, Richard Jeni, and, you know, John Mulrooney. And he just named all these comics that were like, you know, and then I was thinking about that compared to now, where it might be, you know, the latest TikToker who has a lot of followers and they're just rolling the dice, hoping that they'll bring their fans to come see him, you know, as opposed to someone who's really worked on the craft. I think it's got to be hard for a club, right? Like they got to do a balance of both. But
yeah, I mean, it's a weird profession where talent is not rewarded, because if that was the case, Godfrey would be a household name. But it's like you said, who's got the most followers, who's got the most, like, you know, TikTok things or whatever. And don't connect to that. I was always attracted to the process and the talent and the undeniable, like you're undeniable on stage. Like Darren's put the time in, you could tell. And, you know, it's not a fun follow if you're going on after Darren Carter. So
it's funny. I ran into Barry Katz just randomly. That is cool. That's one of the cool things about LA. You never know.
Darren, you're undeniable.
Right? Exactly. You never know who you're going to run into. I literally was on the way to
How much money do I owe you, by the way?
We never had that business relationship, but he did tell me something that he one of the compliments that he gave me was that nobody wants to follow you. But I'm sitting there and I go, yeah, but how does that help me? Like I need something bigger than this, you know? And I guess what he was trying to say basically is comics that necessarily don't crush, but if it can translate to the little box, then that's what crushes, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, everyone has their opinions, but
it's just finding that weird thing. I mean, you've been in, like you said, what, 94 you started?
No, I started I moved to LA in 94, 95. But I started in probably like 89, 90. 90 was my first big paid gig on the road, you know.
What was that?
I lived in Fresno. And at the time I had a motorcycle, but I didn't want to take my motorcycle on the freeway because it was, you know, once you got past 50, it would start shaking. And, you know, like it was legal, but barely. Like it was a Suzuki 185. And I think at that time, you had to have a 175 and above or something. Don't quote me on that, but basically the thing would start shaking. So I was like, I got to get a car. And I bought a used car. And this is not a joke. I was just naive. I bought what was called a Yugo. I don't know if your audience remembers Yugos, but dude, it's like a basic bare car. Like they had no glove compartment. It was just bad. And so I bought this red Yugo and I drove to Ventura. And in Ventura, now there's a club there called the Ventura Harbor Comedy Club. But back then it was called Hornblowers.
And does it have a weird smell to you?
Low tide. Yeah, when there's like low tide, all the dead fish. Yeah.
Oh, it smells like shit. I did it with that.
Right. Yeah.
With me, Florentine, and Kate Quigley, we did a show there, and I just remember it just stunk.
Yeah. And you know what's funny? When I started, like there was, at least at that gig, and a lot of the ones that I would do, there was 4 comics. They'd have the MC, then they'd have the opening act, and then the feature, and then the headliner. So I was the MC, and I remember I got paid $350 to MC. And no hotel. But here's what you do. I talked to a comic that had played it a week before. And he goes, when you get to town, try to get there a little earlier and just find any phone book. And in the back of the phone book, they'll have a La Quinta Inn coupon. So sure enough, I found the coupon. I ripped it out, went to the La Quinta Inn, got a great deal on a hotel. And I just remember I was 20 years old and just chilling in the jacuzzi going, I've made it, man. I'm a professional comedian. And, you know, it was just amazing. But it was a little lonely for a second there because I realized like, wow, I'm seeing these beautiful palm trees. I'm in the hot tub but I'm like by myself. And that's when I realized as a comedian, you have to learn to kind of like love yourself and love the alone time and embrace it. Don't be like that kind of guy that's like, oh, I'm scared to go to a movie by myself, or you know how it is. Once you like learn to eat lunch by yourself, take walks by yourself.
Yeah.
Like, you know,
Unfortunately,
unfortunately
for me, I got way too used to loving being by myself. And now it's like, that's all I prefer is just being by myself because I'm just used to it because I'm on the road. I'm lonely. My first paid gig ever was Comedy Time. You remember Comedy Time at the Ice House?
Yeah. You get a t-shirt, a mug, $25.
$25.
And all the exposure you want, buddy. Yeah.
And Mike Jaglin booked me, and I was 6 months into stand-up. And I actually contacted Comedy Time back in 2012 to take it the fuck down because it was so bad. It haunted me.
Did they take it down? They didn't take it down, did they?
They did. They did.
Oh, they did.
They honored my request. I go, this thing's killing me. It's got like 10,000 views, but none of the comments are good. And they shouldn't be because I'm really bad. I was doing it looked like I was doing an impression of Brody and Anthony Jeselnik. I don't know what I was doing, but it was not good.
It was a funny delivery with like dark punchlines and like,
yeah. And I had some weird misdirection and I was embarrassing. I had to get rid of it.
I did it. And then nothing really took off for me when I did it. Cause I was just like, I don't ever 20. I remember I even did another gig earlier that night and I was more concerned with the earlier gig. And then I was like, I'll drive down there and do my little thing. And then then I realized like, it is getting like a good amount of views, but nothing crazy. But I didn't really. But then Angela Johnson took off.
I know. I was the opposite of Angela Johnson.
Right. Yeah. Hers took off. And then I was like, hey, maybe I should rethink this thing. And so I reached out to them and they go, yeah, come on down and do it again. And then I did a
next thing you know, Darren Carter's doing a nail salon bit.
Exactly. You like the nails rounded or square. But yeah, I think the next bit I did was a bit that I hadn't done in a while, but it used to be one of my killer bits, but I hadn't done it in a while. So I did that and that didn't even take off. So the comment section, same thing where you said it was more negative. Like, you know, it was from European people were like, these Americans will laugh at anything. And, you know, I was like, you never know what's going to take off, right?
Yeah, I remember one of the comments actually said, he goes, this guy's like a crappy Anthony Jeselnik. I go, he's kind of right. I mean, that kind of stung because you're right.
I know, right? Like,
because Anthony at the time, I was like, because we were doing the same open mics, because he had like a couple, like I think he had Jimmy Kimmel under his belt, and he was still relatively new, but he was doing that shtick, his thing. And I would see him bomb miserably because nobody knew who he was, but I knew what he was saying was brilliant. They were great jokes. And I think I was very influenced by it because we were doing the same open mics. We were at the same Coffee Bean. We were at the same, you remember that Ramada Inn show?
I never did it, but I heard people talk about it a little. At that point, I was probably getting like the regular like rooms and stuff. But I heard that was a good one, right? Was it good? The Ramada?
It was good. I remember Mark Maron was there every week, and this was before Mark did the podcast, so he was kind of going through his divorce and figuring it out. And he'd be on stage having mental breakdowns, which was fun.
Yeah, you know what's funny, man? I did a show recently. I filled in. There was like a guy, they said he had a meltdown. Like he was on stage, he had a meltdown. And then I was talking to the comedians in the green room and they all laughed at this, but I wasn't trying to be funny, but I go, how do they know the difference between a comic's meltdown and his regular set? Because sometimes it would be like a blurred line, right? But they said it was a real meltdown. So, you know.
Yeah. I have fake meltdowns on stage now and it's fun. Like I tell everybody, one of my stock lines is I go, this isn't stand-up comedy. You're watching mental illness. You paid to watch mental illness.
Yeah. Do you kind of let the staff know like, hey, this is my shtick. Don't be alarmed or anything?
Oh, yeah, they like it. They like it. Cause I try to like break down this wall and I basically just go off. Like I go, I'm making $100 tonight, whether you like me or not, I'm getting that money. That's happening.
That's funny. That's funny.
I do a lot of that weird stuff.
Sometimes fake anger can really be hilarious, but as long as because I remember I used to do this bit where I'd have the DJ hit a song. I tell a joke, have the DJ hit a sound.
I remember that. I've seen you do it.
Right. And then I would do, there was a couple clubs that I played where I was really good friends with the sound guys. So we'd goof off. And if they messed up, it was okay. Cause I'd cover it and be like, that's my wife's brother, my brother-in-law. He goes on the road with me and he's nearsighted. He needs glasses. He can't see the music cues or whatever. I'd make fun of the sound and it would be hilarious. But then when I would play other places, like one time I did a gig in Canada, the sound guy, he took all my barbs as personal. And so I remember I walked off stage. The manager was like, "Hey, I'd stay away from Jesse for a while. He was pretty pissed at you." And I was like, "Really? Why?" It's like, but then I realized like, oh, not everybody knows that you're just kidding. I figured he's in the dark. Nobody even knows he's back there. But
Yeah.
I remember watching. Yeah. I was going to say, because I remember it was hilarious when you'd see Don Rickles like get mad at the band.
Sure.
Like, come on, keep up with. So I guess I was sort of trying to do that. But if they don't know that you're in on it, then they think you're just a jerk. And
that happened to me last New Year's Eve, not this past one, but the one prior. I was with Mark Norman and I was hosting the show because it's Side Splitters. I'm there every week, whatever. It doesn't matter. And they had a new sound guy. They were trying out on New Year's Eve, which is not a good idea.
On New Year's Eve? That's hilarious.
Yeah. And he cut the music too soon. And I had to awkwardly go on stage, and luckily I've been in that position a million times. And I started making fun of the sound guy. I have to get the crowd going. And I get off stage. I was like, "Hey man, I hope you're not mad." He's like, "Yeah, I am mad, dude. That was screwed up. Why would you point me out like that? It's my first day." And I'm like, "Oh my God." I mean, we're cool now, but at the time he was like out of his mind, and I felt bad.
He didn't get it. Yeah. It's funny how they do that to people. On New Year's Eve, they'll give them a big job. I remember one year where, hey, you know what? I know you were in radio back when I started before comedy. I was in radio. I didn't know which way I was going to go, comedy, radio. And I remember they gave me the keys to the radio station and actually let me be on the air. And the New Year's Eve from 89 to 90. And it was super exciting. And then of course, looking back, you realize like, man, I was just a security guard with like CDs. I wasn't really all the real DJs were having the time of their life at all these nightclubs and having fun. And here I am like this 19-year-old punk, like, "Hey, it's New Year's Eve, everybody." And, and then you take off the headset and you're just like lonely. You're like, "Oh, this is nothing."
You know who gave me my first radio gig? Sam Tripoli.
Really?
Do you remember? It was on Sunset. It was the National Lampoon's Radio. You remember?
Yep. National Lampoon's Radio right there on Sunset by that Bullwinkle. Yeah, I know where that is. By Dublin's, right?
Yeah, yeah. And we did a thing called the Hollyweird Report, and I was his co-host, and we were on after Cato Kalin's show. I remember Cato had a show. So we'd run into Cato every time we were coming in studio. But Sam, and I remembered Sam took the tape and sent it to Howard Stern because they were having a contest like the next Howard Stern. And he got to go in studio with Stern and they played the tape.
Wow.
And it was, when Stern was still on terrestrial radio, but it was hilarious because I'm the guy who actually got a actual radio show from that. So Sam was always just like, "You were just a co-host. You were just a sidekick and you actually got a radio show."
Yeah. Wow. That's cool. What do you like better, being a host or a co-host?
I like being the co-host. I never had an ego about it. I always like complimenting. I'm like, in high school, I was a point guard. I like passing the ball to the shooter. I like getting the assists. I don't like scoring. And that's always been my motto. And I'm pretty good dealing with the alpha male in the room or the ego guy. Like I can play off of that. And I just always enjoyed it. I always like to I love being the Oates to Hall. I love being the Flavor Flav to Chuck D. I enjoy that.
When I've heard you on podcasts, I always thought, man, you're a great co-host because you're like a sniper. You lay back in the cut and then you just throw out a jab. Or sometimes you know what you're really good at, because I've texted you before, go, "Dude, you're so funny." I remember one time I was driving, drinking iced coffee back to the farm, and something happened, and I spit all over my dashboard. I was just like, it was so funny because you're not only do you have the ability to be funny on your own and to throw in those quick jokes, you also set things up for the other person to make fun of you or to do, you know what I mean? You're not afraid to lob, and then they, and I've learned that ability too. Where I'm like, if I know someone's really good at something, I'll kind of set them up a certain way. And it's great. It's it's a lesson.
Like for example, the podcast I was doing with Kevin, he tends to ramble and go on and on and on. So you gotta be, I learned quickly, I'm a sniper now. I got to just come in with the quick hits because he doesn't give you a lot of space. So I assess that situation. I just look at people's strengths and weaknesses and I go, where can I fit? How can I complement? Whatever the case may be, whether it was my radio show in Cleveland with Alan Cox, whether it was with my, Florentine or whoever I was doing a show with, that's how I do it. And I have no ego about it.
That's good. And I had two guys on recently, that podcast I just mentioned, Dr. Dean and
the Pocket Party.
It's called Pocket Party Podcast. So I had these two guys are from New York. They're typical New Yorkers, thick accents. One guy's from Long Island, the other guy's from Queens. And these guys are alpha male style. Like they're going to take over and talk. They're known for like talking. And what I didn't want was talking on top of each other, me interrupting, doing the whole story, the story chopping deal. So I just kind of laid back and I probably talked about 5% of the time. Hey, show that again. What was that? That was
that's your podcast, Pocket Party.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, I just pull it up. You can
Pocket
get it on
Party
iTunes, iHeartRadio,
Spotify, YouTube.
This one actually is
all
on
the good stuff.
iHeart right there.
Wow, look at you. I don't know how to do any of this stuff that you're doing. Just sharing the screen. Oh, thank you, man.
I think I'm following.
That's cool. Well, be careful. Don't put your private information out there. I don't know.
Yeah. Here's my
Cowboys and video games. That was a great one. I love that one. That was a good one.
Yeah, go listen to Punch Drunk Sports. That's the podcast I used to be on. Kareem Matthews.
Yep, he was a guest on there, and he's really. Do you know Kareem?
Yeah, I did Punch Drunk a lot with him.
I don't know anything about sports, so like right before the Super Bowl, I had both those guys on. I only had Kareem on. Kareem Matthews, because he's a diehard LA Rams fan, and he's been to Super Bowls, and then the next guest was that guy I told you about, Dr. Dean, because he was a former degenerate gambler, and he talked about I didn't ever even knew this expression, prop bets.
Oh yeah,
and I'm like, because I had some of the listeners go ask me some questions, so they're like, "What are your prop bets?" and heads or tails, or what color will the Gatorade be when they pour it over the person's head, and he was actually good at it because Kareem. He said, because I think it'll be red. And then when I interviewed Dean, he goes, let me see here. The LA Rams, their colors are blue and gold. He goes, I'm going to guess blue. And he was right. I was like, wow. And then I told Kareem about that. And he goes, yeah, I wasn't even thinking about what team colors. He goes, I didn't even know there was a red Gatorade. So I guess that's how some people that gamble. Do you gamble? Like, have you done it before? Or?
Oh yeah, I have gambled. I actually want to be I would love to be a good gambler. Like I want to that seems like fun. Like I have friends that are good gamblers, and I was like, if I could get good at it, I'll do it. But I'm not that good, so I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
But Jim Florentine has this amazing Super Bowl party at his place in Jersey every year. By the way, Joey Diaz lives like 4 houses down from Jim in Jersey.
Wow,
it's kind of
weird.
Cool. And just like this residential neighborhood, like he's in the witness relocation program, like he doesn't belong. But anyways,
cool.
Yeah. Long story short, he has his big Super Bowl parties, and his brother Dan, he kind of rings in all these prop bets, and there's like a million of them going on. I remember one year I made like $100 off all these dumb bets. But it's a lot of fun. It's like so much fun, and I missed the last couple of years because of COVID. But I'd like.
I think I would like that, like dumb prop bets. I mean, that's fun. You don't have to know that much about the game. It's just like dumb luck and just wild guesses. I would imagine, right? Like,
yeah, that's all it is. It's just silliness. It's like coin flips and all that, and
like I didn't even. Yeah, they were telling me like even people bet on like how long the national anthem's going to be. Is it going to be, I guess, like under 2 minutes or over 2 minutes? And I was wrong because I just had a friendly bet with my wife, and I'm like 2 minutes and 12 seconds, and then it was like, I don't know, 1:46. I was like, I guess I was way off on that.
I'm a loser.
I'm a loser. Yeah, exactly. I'm like, I'm glad we didn't do this for real.
Hey, I'm just not to switch gears on you, but what's gas out there right now? I'm curious.
Oh, it's almost I drove this morning, and there's this gas station I always go to, and it's because it's it's not the cheapest one, but it's reasonable. And right now is at $5.99.
What?
For unleaded? Yeah.
You got it. $5.99. Oh my God.
Yeah. I mean, there's some expense. Like I think 76 gas stations seems to be pretty expensive, and there's one by the freeway.
That's the one in Beverly Hills too. 76.
Oh gosh. Let me see. I'll put gas prices near me just to find out what. Yeah, see, I can go with this other place for $5.60. I could do that, or $5.70.
What a bargain!
But I know. Oh, look, here's one for $6.16 for regular gas. That's crazy.
When I left LA January 2019, I remember filling up. Gas was $4.25. And I thought that was expensive.
Wow.
And then I got to Florida, and I remember filling up my tank for $1.65. Right now,
wow.
I drove the side splitters yesterday. It's at $4.50 down here. I mean, and I think that's ridiculous. That's what it was. And now it's $6 in LA. Wow.
I know. Well, they're trying to make it like I said, $5.99. I remember it was because there's this one gas station. My wife was dropped off our son, and it was $5.39. And then when she picked him up, it was up to $5.79. It was like, insane. What? Are you kidding me? It's like, yeah. So, I mean, I'm trying to do the things like they say, like, drive slower. But I never did that though. I never was the kind of guy that's like, boom, boom, revving the engine and, the light turns green. I'm just going to casually go up. What are we going to do?
It sucks. It's just, it's insane. And I don't know, man. I mean, I know you're from there, but I couldn't handle it. I don't know.
I know. It's like
I hate your governor. Yeah. I hate him.
Oh, I know. Like, I don't know. Yeah. I mean, yeah. Well, I thought for sure he was going to get recalled, and then things happened and he didn't. But it's like, man. I mean,
Does your kid have to wear a mask in school still?
Not anymore. Thank God. Not anymore. Yes. They finally. That was a ridiculous thing. It's like you're seeing all of America. I mean, you watch the Super Bowl. No one's wearing a mask. All the politicians are having the time of their lives. And then the kids had to wear masks outside, outdoors. It's like, are you kidding me? So they finally got rid of that. And it's like, although it was kind of cool. Like my son, when he had his braces, it was all it was like the Zoom homeschool and then the mask. So basically, you know what I mean? So now he's got this great smile. And,
so he avoided all the kids' criticism and stuff with it. So that's a good thing.
Right. Although I think a lot of them wear braces and stuff. I mean, I in a way, I don't know if I would like that. I wouldn't probably like the mask, but I think about like having acne and stuff when you're junior high, like that might have been if there's any plus side, it's like, you ever get like that red pimple in the end of your nose? You're like, dang it. So then the mask could be like, oh, this is convenient. I'm all about the mask.
There is some benefit, especially if you're famous. That would have been fun to have if you were like a famous guy.
I read somewhere, I think it was Jim Carrey. He said when he discovered the motorcycle helmet, it changed his life because he'd keep the motorcycle helmet on and go into like a store or something and not get bothered.
Yeah. No, I mean, I guess there was an interview with Paul McCartney and he was just like, I want to keep the mask forever. He goes, I walk around everywhere. No one bothers me. It's fantastic.
Yeah. Oh, that'll be the thing when that's how we'll recognize celebrities. The other ones with the masks on still, you know.
That's what I wanted to ask you because you've been doing it for a long time in Hollywood. Who is some of the most famous people you ever performed in front of? I'm curious because you probably, ran to everyone.
Of course, Snoop
especially
Dogg.
Dublin's.
Yep. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Britney Spears, Matthew McConaughey was there. There's so many. Gosh. Justin Timberlake. Of course, Vince Vaughn. He's friends with Ahmed, so he'd come a lot. Snoop Dogg, and I've told this story a lot, but I performed at Snoop Dogg's family reunion.
I never heard it.
In a row, and he introduced me and everything, man. It was great. His cousin had seen me at the Hollywood Improv, and
videotape.
I do have a. I know because I think my friend filmed it. Did we even have phones? I don't know because I did it right around that time. I don't know if the phones had cameras on it, but Snoop Dogg introduced me.
Yeah,
it was awesome. He's like, wow, yeah. I mean, because I did the impression, so that's what got me the gig. Let me see. Where's this picture at?
That's awesome.
Yeah, but I did. Yeah, Snoop Dogg and Henry Winkler. Yeah, Henry Winkler. Fonzie. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. Fonzie
he saw me.
Been fun.
Oh, fine. Yeah, he was great. He actually told me I was cool, which is neat. He saw me at the Comedy Store. Who else?
Did you do? Were you one of the few comics that performed in front of Paul McCartney at the Hollywood Improv? Because I guess he was there.
I was there that night, but I did not perform that night. And I'm like, gosh, but I saw him sitting in the back. And there's some great photos, right, where people like are in the men's room and they're like peeking over the thing. It was all staged, but it was like, wow, it's so cool. And look, there we go, right there, Snoop Dogg.
Oh, that's awesome.
Darren Carter and Snoop Dogg.
Godfrey told me he's a great guy.
Yeah, he's very cool. He's really relaxed. He's cool, great sense of humor. And whether, he saw me at the Improv, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago. And he's like, what's up, funny man? How you doing? You blessed? I mean, he's just still, he makes you feel like $1 million.
Yeah, he's got that aura, that whole thing going on. And he's comfortable in his own skin, but he also realizes how big he is too. And he doesn't make that a thing.
I saw Justin Bieber at the Laugh Factory. I was probably like 15 feet from him. I'm like, wow, that back bar area. I'm like, wow, Justin Bieber's right there. Like, that's kind of cool. But, I don't really like to ask for photos with people unless like there's like a mutual, like they've seen me perform or we're, you know what I mean? Cause I remember I asked a guy once, to get a photo, and he was like, and it was a small room, and there was probably like 20 people there, the Dime Bar on Fairfax.
Oh yeah.
And I just got off stage, and I thought, oh, this guy's cool. He'll know that, it's like professional courtesy. Like, he's an actor, I'm a comic. And then he's like, I don't want to make a scene. And I was like, so whatever. You never know what people are going through, and but at that time I was like, gosh, man, like
I got a photo. I did. You remember Lucky Strike, the bowling alley show?
Yeah.
I remember I was on that show. I was like the third comic up, and I got on stage. As soon as I got stage, front row comes walking in Anthony Kiedis from the Red Hot Chili Peppers and sits down with his friend. And I'm just like,
wow,
how do I not draw attention to this situation? It's so weird.
Yeah.
I ended up having a great set. And I guess after I went outside and made a phone call, and he came out, I guess somebody like kind of blew his cover, and I got a photo with him there. So that was fun.
Oh, that's so cool. Yeah. Mark McGrath told me I was funny, and it made me feel good because I actually felt like I didn't have that good of a set. Like he saw me like the next day. He goes, hey, I saw you last night at Dublin's. He goes, man, you're funny, man. Funny stuff. And I was like, oh, thank you. And in my mind, I'm like, I've done better.
You're like, Sugar Ray sucks.
I know. Yeah. Well, Sugar Ray sucks.
Have you ever had like a weird, like, I did Nashville Zanies with Bert Kreischer before, like it was right when he was blowing up, and the band Dashboard Confessionals came to the show.
Oh, I remember them.
Yeah, and I'm not a fan, but they were super nice guys, super cool, and they hung out with us all weekend long. And they were like, dude, if you ever see us come, hit me up. Here's my phone number. Text me. And it was like the worst connection I've ever had. Like it's a band I don't really care about or follow. But
what do they sing?
I heard one of their songs. I'm like, it sounds familiar.
Yeah.
It's not my thing, but I have this amazing connection to this band, and I could give a shit about them. No disrespect. They're very nice dudes.
Yeah.
I could like text them and go backstage at their concerts, and I don't want to.
Yeah. That's funny.
Like if it was Guns N' Roses, that'd be awesome. But like,
I know Metallica, Guns N' Roses, like some kind of like band that you're into, that you're, who I got to hang out with backstage was Kid Rock. I'm a huge Kid Rock fan.
Yeah, I met him before. He's nice.
He was really nice, man. And they were playing music backstage, and I was like, this is cool. Like comedians would, go to diners and stuff. This guy was like, I remember they had like the tray of like vegetables, and they were just playing drums and piano and singing. I was like, damn, this is like a private concert. Like there's, I'm in this backstage area with like 25 people, and and then they did this Shake, Rattle, and Roll, that song, Shake, Rattle, and Roll. And he was sort of like freestyle, almost like rapping. And then he inserts me into like the rap song. It was cool. And then we got a comic from BET. We got Darren Carter. And he's like, and I'm like, damn, this is amazing. Like, this is like, it was really a highlight, like, wow, this is so cool. Gibson Amphitheater, Universal Studios, which is no longer there. They tore it down and put in some kind of Harry Potter ride or something over there.
Oh, yeah. Good. That's exactly what you need. What part of LA are you in? I don't even
Burbank. Yeah. Burbank is great. Yeah, we're close to. Where were you when you lived here?
I started out in Los Feliz. I had a great spot there, and unfortunately, it didn't work out. I was not on the lease, so I had to move to Sherman Oaks, right about 2 miles from Valley Village, where the great Brody Stevens lived, and Bird.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I was in that area, but I would always go to the Burbank Whole Foods, that new one.
Oh yeah, yep. It's a really good one.
Yeah,
it's a really good. It's funny because like, I think masks are they were voluntary like now at this point, but if you go to Whole Foods, it's still like 95% of them. Yeah, exactly.
It's like COVID just happened.
Before I walk, yeah, exactly. It's like March 20. But you look around, I'll see like one person with no mask. Before I go in, I see another person. I'm like, you know what? That's great. So I just walk in, and then once you get in there, I'm like, sometimes right now we're at the stage where I can count people, and I'm like, oh, cool. There's 5 or 6 of us with no masks, and then I go to the Vons. And the Vons, I counted 9 people with no masks.
Yeah, Vaughn's, it's like Thunderdome. There's no rules at Vaughn's.
Right. Yeah. And then you go down, I wonder if you go to Smart and Final, now there's 12 people. Then you go down to like the local.
You go to Rock and Roll Ralph's and clothes are optional.
Yeah. No one's wearing shoes, masks, shirts, nothing. Like
I used to live by there on Poinsettia, and I used to go there. This is back in 2005, and it was still crazy then. I can only imagine what it is now after COVID.
I know. My buddy went to a Guitar Center down in Lawndale, and he goes, dude, he's like, there's like, he goes, I'm not kidding. He goes, I must have saw like 20 homeless people in there just like playing pianos and just like, I was like, wow. Like, he goes, no one cared. No one tried to, security didn't, bother. I'm like, that's, yeah. I usually go to the Guitar Center, either Sherman Oaks or every now and then I'll go to the one on Sunset. I'll take my son. We'll go and jam and stuff. And
yeah, man. Well, what I like about you, Darren, is you're like one of the few comics who has an opinion and you're not afraid to like express that. And that's so refreshing in this day and age where you don't just necessarily go along with the sheep or just what I got to say, to make it or whatever. And you kind of like, and that's something that's not, I get in that, especially that city, it's a refreshing thing that you continue to just stay true to yourself. And, like you said, you've been doing it forever and comedians respect you. And so it's good to talk to you and having a guy like you out there.
Dude, thank you, man. And you're inspirational as well. Like, I love how you would go live a lot. Like there'd be times where I was like, man, like, and then I'd say, hey, he's live right now. And then I would just like join in. Hey, what's up, Chad? You're just out there walking. And how often do you go live?
There's no rhyme or reason. Like I'm on a big fitness kick right now because I'm trying to get my butt in shape. So I try to get 10,000 steps in. So, and if I'm bored, I'll just do it just because I'm walking anyway. So I might as well just, talk to some people. And
when you walk and talk, do you hold the camera up so it's like a nice angle, or do you just put the camera wherever? Or
oh, I have the Brody Stevens selfie stick. That was the one thing when they cleaned out his apartment, I asked for the selfie stick. So I use his selfie sticks because he used to do it all the time. Steps with Steve's, the Prince.
Yep.
So I wanted the selfie stick and I have it. So I'll just connect it to the selfie stick.
That's cool.
Yeah. So that's my homage to my friend.
My eyes, they adjusted my eyes with the contact lenses because there was a time when I could only look at my phone with reading glasses on. I'm like, well, I don't want to be walking and trying to read comments and squinting. So, but now I can do it pretty easily. Like, have you ever had that problem where we got some comments coming in, but you can't read because the print's too small?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. You're like,
by the way, for everybody that's listening on my podcast, because there's a lot of Brody fans, we just did a little Brody thing. Me and Earl did. Actually, if you want to go subscribe to Darren's podcast, The Pocket Party, Brody's last podcast was with you, the very last one he ever did, right?
Absolutely. I think he may have done one more. I'm not sure, but I was the last. I know for sure I was the last one-on-one with Brody. And he really enjoyed it. He told me, and he said he wanted to do more. And he had reached out to me, which is wild. He reached out to me on that. He was no longer with us. I want to say, was it a Thursday?
Yeah.
Because I think Thursday. But he reached out to me that previous Sunday and said, can we do it? Oh, no, I'm sorry. We were supposed to get together on Sunday. I called him on Sunday. He goes, I'm just not feeling well. I'm on these medications, but my levels but I'll be fine. And I go, well, I'm going to go do a radio show with Fraser Smith. I said, on the way, when I get done, I'll call you and see how you, and he still wasn't feeling well. And I go, well, let's try tomorrow. So on Monday, he's like, I'm feeling better. Come on over. And Chad, it was wild. Like I went to his apartment and there was a girl that was kind of helping him out with some stuff. So, I sat down and we talked for maybe a couple of hours before we even did the podcast, which is unusual, but I listened. I could tell he'd been going through some stuff and so we just talked. And then she went away to get some stuff. She comes back, drops off she made some coffee for us. We did a 2-hour podcast, a little over 2 hours. And then I hung out with them for another hour after that. So I spent like 5 hours with them. It's funny. I wouldn't think anything of it until we know what happened. So
yeah,
all that. And then he walked me down to the lobby, gives me a hug goodbye. He actually gave me some stuff. Like he gave me some different beanies and different belongings and stuff. And he even made a joke. He goes, they say when people give stuff away, he goes, but this isn't that. And I was like, oh, because I literally thought it was stuff because he'd been, touring with David Spade. And yeah, man, it's depressing when I think about it too much. I can't think about it too much, but that podcast is out there, Pocket Party Podcast, and people can listen. I go, man, I know this isn't, I go, they say when you get your blood moving, when you do push-ups, and you just say, so I got him to do some push-ups, and we, I filmed it. And our plan was to go, I go with me to like Runyon Canyon, Griffith Park. Let's do it this week, please. Let's go for a walk. Let's get out there. Cause I also go for these walks and hikes. And besides going to the boxing gym and my daily push-ups, I haven't written it down, but look, I keep a little list right here. Every day I do 50 push-ups, 50 sit-ups, almost every day. And it just keeps you, in check, it's just part of the day. Like every day I do my jumping jacks. So that never happened. Obviously the walk, and a friend, and also he's become a friend, and he's a listener. His name is Tommy Godlove. And he heard that episode and was like, you know what? Let's keep the walk going. You told people let's walk for mental health and fitness. So on Brody's birthday, which is, I believe, in May, he organized it. Tommy organized this walk, and we met at Griffith Park, and I want to say 20 to 30 people came out, and I was nervous because I really didn't know Tommy that well. And I'm thinking, it'd be like one of your listeners, like, hey, Chad, let's do this thing. And you're like, okay. But, and I remember texting this or messaging this guy, DMing him on Instagram. I go, Tommy, what if it's just me and you there? Like, this will be, because I'm thinking, what if nobody shows up? And I remember he said, there'll be 3 of us. And I said, who? And he goes, me, you, and Brody in spirit. And I thought, wow, that's interesting. And so about 20 to 30 people showed up. This guy organized it. Like, he had like a tent and refreshments. He did like a trivia game. Excuse me. COVID hit. We didn't do it in 2020, but last year we did it, and we did it at Reseda Park where Brody has the bench. Yeah. And now there was like 40 people there, and it was incredible. Like, it's grown. And then when this guy, Tommy Godlove, he went to the mayor and all the people in the valley over there, and Brody got like his own date, 818, August 18th. And there was probably like over 100 people at that thing. And
that's amazing.
And then the news was there, and the police showed up, and it was really, man, it's
see, you got this great story. Earl has the worst story, because Brody was supposed to do his podcast that Thursday. So the last text Earl sent, and I want to get it right, but he says, way to blow me off, asshole.
Oh no. Wow.
I was like, yeah, Brody will do anything to get out of doing Earl's podcast.
Oh wow. Yeah, because I had DM'd him on Wednesday, and I was like, hey, the podcast is great. People are loving it, blah, blah, blah. And then he didn't write back, and I didn't really think anything of it. And then I got so it was a Thursday or a Friday. It was a Thursday, whatever it was. I remember my phone was blowing up, and people were like, is it true? Is it true? Did you hear? And I was like, what the hell? Yeah, it freaked me out, man. Did not like that was, especially when you're like sitting down talking to someone. Like, how often do we do that in real life? We don't really, right? We're constantly on them. Even when we see each other at clubs, hey, how you doing? What's going on? And then you're not really, but just sit across from someone at a table, you're looking them in their eye, like I said, for 5 hours, and then that person's no longer here and they did it to themselves. It's like, you know,
I mean, you got the good story out of it, and I'm sure it was appreciated by him. And I always hate ending on a down note, but I have a podcast scheduled in about 10 minutes.
Okay. Hey, well, let's do some fun stuff. Okay. Here's a question, because I haven't had a haircut in a really long time.
Sure.
I want to know, how much do you pay to get your haircut?
$22. There's a barber here on Kennedy. It was the very first place I checked out. I looked online, and I've been going to her ever since. So 22, she takes cash only.
Nice. I like that. Another question I got for you. Is there any words of wisdom, something you've learned along the way that you could maybe help our fellow listeners, something that you've learned in life regarding personal life or comedy, something that you could share with our good listeners here?
Let's words of wisdom. Always question everything. Don't just let it be served to you. Question why, whatever that case may be, whether it's your politicians, your local, whoever, just always question it. I got my head on a swivel, Darren Carter. I don't trust anybody. I don't know if that's a good way to live.
Yeah. You're like words of yeah.
I think everyone's trying to move the goalposts forward. Everybody, women, everybody, races, everybody's trying to get ahead somehow, and they'll do anything to get ahead. And there's very few in my world experiences. There's a handful of good people out there, and everyone else is just trying to get ahead. I don't know if that was good wisdom, but that's street smarts for me.
I know. I'm like, enough of the down notes. I'm like, damn, that wasn't very uplifting either.
No.
Yeah. Okay. One more. Maybe this will be a good one.
Appreciate the moments. Yeah. Like yesterday, I was on a bike ride, and the wind, the weather, the sun, I just felt good. And I go, this is a great moment. Enjoy it. And just whatever those little things are, take a second and take it in. And that's what I did. So there's a good positive message.
Enjoy the moment. That's right, guys. Check out Chad's podcast. The name of your podcast one more time.
Sit Down, Zumock, which my 7th grade teacher, Mr. Willis, yelled at me on a loudspeaker. And it haunted me since the 7th grade, my Washington, D.C. trip to Washington. And he yelled, sit down, Zumock. And that's the name of my podcast.
I love it, man. All right. Chad, thank you so much for taking a small part of your day and sharing it with us. And let's get you back on soon. Thank you.
I love the party starter. That's a wrap.
You got it.
Yeah.